Bogota. I was born in Colombia,
yeah.
but I was adopted by Italians when I was 4 months old, so I come across as Italian. But I don't deny either one. I don't deny that I'm Colombian, and I don't deny that I'm Italian, because both played part in who I am.
When I saw that you were born in Colombia, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
Because when we had coffee, we were talking. I couldn't tell at all. I don't see any Colombian in you. I see all pure Italian.
Yeah, no, I know. A lot of people say that. But there are you see a lot of Colombians that are more fair skinned like myself, and if you know what you do, Google the Colombian soccer team. You may see a couple of guys that I look like over there. You know?
Any desire to be an actor? Like, is that what you wanted to be?
Absolutely not. It's not that I didn't want to do it, but growing up the way I did with immigrant parents and just the way they grew up, and they didn't know anything about that. It's not like I was ever pushed in that direction. Like, oh, I should be an actor. Like being from immigrant parents, they teach you to go to school, get an education, go to work. That's what that's what the Italians do, right? They go to work. They're hard.
Hard workers.
Very hard workers, but work. So that seemed like a dream. Like, who gets cast in a movie with Robert Di Niro? So when I heard about this movie, I had been told since I was a kid that I do look like De Niro. Like, if they ever did a movie, he plays son, you should play son. So I've heard that since I was a kid. But then now the opportunity's here. But I mean, I didn't think growing up in a middle class Italian family from Yonkers that I was going to get plucked from obscurity. Next thing you know, I'm on.
And with your first big hit, is fucking The Bronx Tale. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So you're at Jones Beach in 1992. You're just swimming in the water, right?
Right.
And then a scout of De Niro's comes up to you and asks you to play the one fucking guy from Taxi, and you do an impression.
Well, we had just finished playing soccer, and I went in the water to cool off. My brother was calling my name because there was a scout, Marco Greco, because Jones Beach, Section 4, it's all Italians. So he went to the right place. That was a good place to go. And he found me,
yeah.
So, but he was handing out flyers looking for even the young boy, 8 to 9 year old boy, and then a 16, and then the character description. And then when my brother saw it, he's like, oh, hold on, I'll get my brother. He's perfect. So the guy waited. He came and got me. Then he didn't ask me to do Taxi Driver. I just did it because I knew this was my shot. You know what I mean? I had a couple of beers, and I was only 15. That was July 5th, 1992. It was going to be August 30th. I would have been 16. So, yeah, the guy, as soon as he saw me, as I was walking toward him, he's like, wow. He goes, he does look just like him. Wow, he could definitely play his son. So now it's like you got to find out if I can act or not, because you look like him doesn't mean anything. But I did a couple impersonations. The guy loved it, and he said, you should come back tonight. He gave me his information, and I went down to the Belmont Playhouse in the Bronx, right in the actual neighborhood where because we didn't shoot it there. We shot it in Queens, but the auditions were in the Bronx at that level, and then you go to the city, Manhattan. I went in that night, and they had me read the scene when I'm shaving, but in the original script, De Niro was shaving. So I go up to him and I ask him, hey, Dad, and that was the audition scene. I never read anything, acting, I never acted before, never saw anything in screenplay forms. I just looked at it and it just made sense. Interior, night, bathroom as Calogero. It's just, I knew what to do. It just didn't look foreign. And learned my lines. I memorized them. I told the guy to come back in and we did them. And he was like, wow, that was great. He said, no one's ever read this scene like you. So then I told him my father is Sicilian. And that name Calogero is the saint from the town my father's from. In Agrigento, which is the province, the little town is Naro, Naro. I speak the Sicilian dialect and everything. So that, that's a very rare name. Even because it's not even Italian, it's Sicilian. It's specifically Sicilian.
Yeah.
It's not, and Calogero's Charles. It's the Sicilian way of saying Charles. So now, when we did this movie, everybody was saying Calogero, and they butchering this name. And I'm like, I grew up hearing this name. I got relatives. I got, I got relatives.
They're Charlie, but you say Caludro.
Yeah. So, but it just seemed like right, like Calogero. I know that. It's just like it seemed like this was waiting for me. Like this was supposed to happen. Started the movie August 31st. That was the day Sonny shot the guy in the street. So I went down with all my friends. I wasn't in the scene. But let me tell you, Astoria, 30th Avenue and 45th Street in Astoria, Queens, August 31st, 1992. The whole neighborhood was out. They had the streets locked up, fake gunshots, and the adrenaline rush just to see De Niro at the helm being, director. I'm like, wow, this is real. When I saw that, cut on the loud, then I'm like, wow, I'm part of this. You're blessed without the experience in how to receive those blessings can be disastrous. You're blessed, you're blessed, but how do I handle being blessed without the experience? When you got the experience, oh, I know, last time I did this happened. I'm going to do this now. But you have no experience, nothing to draw from. So, and as Chaz Palminteri said it best, I made some monumentally bad choices. And I did. I really did. And
Bronx Tale, that was based on like a real story of Chaz?
Well, yeah. Chaz Palminteri, his father was Lorenzo, the bus driver. I know that for a fact because I knew his father. He's a great guy. And he was a bus driver from the Bronx. Chaz is Charles, and it's Calogero. Charles.
So you basically were playing Chaz.
Right.
Okay, in real life.
Right.
Okay.
And yeah, there was really a Sonny Lo Specchio. Was his name. That was, and the whole thing with the bikers in the bar, that was real. Yeah, that was real. You know what that biker gang is called? No. They're called the Chingalings. And they're still in the Bronx right now. You Google the Chingalings and they're from Fordham in the Bronx.
Damn.
That really happened. I know a guy, I'm not going to mention his name, but his father was in the bar when that happened.
When it really went down.
Yeah.
And he says, what do they say?
That's the best. That's
now you can't leave.
Now you can't leave.
Now you can't.
I
love.
Why am I asking you? I got this fucking guy here right now.
But do you know how bold and how hard that is? Because you got these big, fearsome bikers. And the guy asks you politely, now you've got to leave. And then he tells you, now you can't leave. Even if you want to leave, now you can't.
And he goes and locks the door. Being that all this came so fast, that's what led to the drug use. I understand that there was different things that added up.
That could be one reason. I think it was there's so many. It was just like the perfect storm. You're making money.
It sounds like
you got the personality that would gravitate to that life because you're always, and also like Bronx Tale. When I first saw a trailer in the movie theater, I didn't even know that I was going to see that trailer. So now it's like I watched, and when I saw myself on screen for the first time, it was like
I had to fuck you up.
Bro, it was like a high. It was like a high, the best high ever.
Yeah, I bet.
And it felt really good. But it's like, and you want to keep feeling like that, but now you don't, you can't recreate it. So you think drugs is going to bring you that.
I can understand.
It's a diluted feeling of it.
Yeah.
But it's never the same.
I can understand. And it's kind of like, I've never done like any like hard drugs, just weed and drinking. But it's like like they say, like when you do crack, you're chasing it. So now you come out of the gate with the Bronx Tale or A Bronx Tale. You know what I mean? I mean, at the time, what's bigger? Nothing.
No, it was big, yeah.
So you come from the gate and now how do you compare to that?
You can't.
That's fun, but you're chasing it is what I'm saying.
Right, you're chasing it, right? You peak so early. Like you get actors, they'll do this, and then they get to the next level. It's me, I went here. There's no room. You worked with De Niro, one of the best ever, in his directorial debut where he handpicked you. It doesn't really get better. Racial love. Yeah. That's more prevalent now than it was then. Back then it was forbidden. Now it's like it's okay.
It's like an everyday thing.
Yeah, it's normal, and as it should be. And I think the movie, because of that, has become more special to people. So I kept getting called back, and then eventually they said, we're going to go meet Bob. I didn't know that was Robert Di Niro. So he had his back to me, and when I came in, he turned around, and I saw him. I was like, oh, wow. He basically told me, like, everything that you have been doing up to now, I watched the tapes. He says, you're doing great. Just keep doing that. Keep going in that direction because we want to go there and bring more out. So, I mean, every day I was there doing something. I was, either reading with different combinations of kids who played my friends or the girl, So finally, after all of that, one day De Niro said, tomorrow I want you to dress like you're going to church. Wear a button-down shirt, slacks. He said, we're going to have a screen test. So we're going to put you on film. We're going to see how you look. I said, all right. So I came the next day. And we were in the same building. We were on the second floor, not the 7th and 8th floor. It was the De Niro's building, the Tribeca screening room, where they had the screening room. So everybody's in there. They got kids reading for the girl's brother. They got different girls reading for the girl. They got little Calogeros, little Crazy Marios, little Slicks. They got everybody running all over the big Slick, little Slick. Like the whole room was packed with all the finalists with every role. So now it's like, so everybody was going all day. But before I go any further, that morning, because up to that point, when I went into audition, like I was there every day for a while, there was nobody there. So I said, I must have this part. They're not telling me officially, but I must have it because there's nobody else. So I was pretty happy about that. But that morning, when I went with my father, rest in peace, and we're sitting there, so I get a tap on the shoulder, and it's the kid who shot Sonny at the end of the movie. Remember Phil? Yeah. He was like 21. I was 16. He was going to be Calogero.
Oh, shit.
So he comes up to me. He's like, yo, what's up, man? He's like, I'm Phil. I'm reading for Calogero, too. So I'm thinking, dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
Like, this sucker, where did he come from, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, I definitely thought I looked more like De Niro, but like I said, that don't mean shit. Because he could look, if he's a better actor, they're going to give it. So now I'm thinking to myself, this guy's a problem. He made it this far for a reason. They must have auditioned thousands of kids from New York. If this is the last of all those kids and this is what they came up, he's got to be good. He's still my very good friend to this day.
That's cool.
Yeah, Phil came to see me when I was away. Thanksgiving he came to see me.
Yeah, that's a real friend.
Yeah. Are you kidding me?
You know
Best.
that.
Best. I love that guy. And so now I'm like, holy. And now everything changed. Now I was like, I was nervous, but I'm thinking I got this part. Let me just do what I've been doing. Let me just not fuck it up. Let me do it, keep it the way it was, and I'll get it.
And you're what, 15, 16?
I was 15.
Because the movie came out, what, 93?
Yeah, I was 15. I was still 15.
Man, that's a lot at 15.
Yeah, but I was going to be 16. It was like my last few weeks of being 15.
Yeah.
So they auditioned everybody else. Now it's just me versus him. Okay? So we literally went shot for shot. He goes into a scene. I go in, back, forth, back, forth. Back. So now it comes to the scene where Sonny smacks us. Where did you go with my car? When he said, thought you put something under the engine. So he went first. And me and my father standing outside the room because they got everything set up in it. But you would think it's a movie set. They got lights, focus pullers, grips, like it's a real film.
Real setup, like everything's really happening.
Yeah. Cameras are rolling, So he goes in. They do the scene. They close the door. Chaz was smacking him so hard.
He was hitting the phone.
Oh yeah. He was and I could hear the kid and he's like really, and then you could hear. And me and my father looked at me like they're really concerned. Like, this is not funny.
Yeah.
Like, you're doing a movie. I understand we love De Niro and,
But you're getting a slap, like a slap.
What they set you up, like, beating this kid up.
You do that now, you get a 20-piece.
Yeah. So now, he comes out, his hair's all disheveled, his shirt's ripped. So he told me, he said, good luck or something like that. And then I went in. And then I did the same thing, and I was waiting for them. Waiting for them.
So now you don't flinch, I bet, right?
Yeah, but you know what? They never hit me once.
Really?
They never hit me once. So I'm thinking to myself, what the
fuck?
Right? Well, long story short, I didn't get to the bottom of it right then and there, but after, got the part and all that, I said to De Niro, I said, hey, remember that time when we did that,
Slap
that scene?
scene.
Yeah, and you guys beat Philip. I said, I was waiting to, the same thing happened to me. So why didn't you guys hit me? He said, we didn't have to. You brought the energy that we needed. So it was there. We didn't have to
We didn't have to give you the adrenaline rush to get going.
And I'm not saying that to, in any way, shape, or form take away from my friend Phil.
Of course not.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But because he's my boy
and he went first too.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was like the ultimate compliment from Robert De Niro saying, your acting was good. Like we didn't need to do
young.
that.
So now, you're Bronx Tale, Renaissance Man, Crimson Tide. How is your mind right now? All this is hitting you at once. You're working with fucking Denzel Washington, Robert De Niro.
Yeah, my mind was like, I want to be a kid. Like, I want to go out with my friends. And this is cool and everything, but I still want to go to my prom and, do that, which I missed out on. And I grew up too fast. And everyone would think from the outside looking in, like, oh my God, look at, he's doing great. And I'm like, I wish I was in his shoes. But, you still want to do the things that are age appropriate, and I wasn't going to school. It kind of took me someplace where I don't know if I was ready to be yet.
Right. So when because you're 15 to 17 doing these three particular movies, right? So in that time period, what are they? You're basically getting homeschooled or tutored or
Yeah, it was called on-location education. But by Crimson Tide, I was already over 18, so I didn't have to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But until you're 18, you have to.
You have to by
So
law,
Bronx
right?
Tale, I did it, and Renaissance Man too.
Okay, so now when you're doing that, you can't have a steady girlfriend, right? Because you're moving around. You can't go. You like you said, you can't be a kid. So when you're going to do these movies, are you like torn between the two, or are you just focused on career?
You know, I don't even know what I was focused on because there was so many things happening. You know what I mean? This is when I first started smoking pot. First time was on the set of A Bronx Tale. I still want to go out with my friends. So I really wasn't focused on, I was focused on being a kid and having fun. As far as the movie career, it happened so fast and so easy that I thought it would always be there. So I kind of just like took it for granted and like, if you know, but that's not the way it works. You got to keep striking the iron when it's hot.
So you kind of got content,
Right.
Right.
And complacent.
complacent,
Right.
Yeah, I guess.
And I kind of like squandered it. You know, you get scripts that they're sending me that they're very interested in having me in the film. Nah, I'm going to pass. I read it. I didn't like it. You read it. You didn't like it. This is $100 million movie. Bro. These are the biggest producers in the world. What are you, nuts?
What was a couple that you turned down that you wish you could go back and
Well,
maybe not wish you could go back because like we were talking earlier, everything that happens in life paves the way and is meant to be. But what's a couple that you could have had that?
Well, I had a very good shot at, you know, well, I was supposed to meet Steven Spielberg for Saving Private Ryan.
Ooh.
And I was out the night before. I was out doing drugs and drinking, and the audition was like at 10:30 in the morning, and I was still like, you know, wired up from the night before. And I turned it down. I said, I'm going to pass. Steven Spielberg must have been like, what's wrong with this guy?
Well, what is this guy fucking crazy?
Yeah, like I told him, let's reschedule for Monday. And my manager's like, he's leaving, going back to L.A., dude. It's today or not, never. And, yeah.
What was your manager like? What the fuck? I like. Do you understand, Lillo? This is Steven Spielberg here. This
get
could
in
take
the-
you to the next.
Right,
you
yeah,
know?
exactly. And, you know, you get people killed to be in the room with someone like that. And you're, you know,
You're asking him to reschedule for you.
yeah. I'll see you when I see you, Steve.
Oh, you started with weed. Is that what?
Yeah,
how
on
it
the set of
started?
The Bronx Tale with Phil, the kid who shot Sonny.
Yeah.
Innocently enough, he had some in the car. We smoked, and I didn't get high. I thought I did, and then we smoked again on the set. And then I got bombed. And I did the scene, is it better to be loved or feared? And
Did Chaz and De Niro know that you were high,
they may have suspected something.
but they didn't say nothing to you?
No.
Yeah.
Because they didn't know that I was doing, you know what I mean? That was my first time, so
And at that point, you're just doing weed
that's it.
Right.
And liquor.
and liquor.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you do Renaissance, Crimson Tide. Are you still just on the weed, or you've
No, by then, you know, I started with some hallucinogens, some mushrooms, and then some ecstasy, cocaine. Ecstasy was huge in the 90s, especially all like the Peter Gatien clubs, the Limelight, the Palladium, USA, and I was part of that, you know, that whole world and that era. But, yeah, and it just got worse and worse. And then I started with the cocaine on the weekends, and it started in the weed during the week. And I'm like, I'm still working, you know what I mean? And then in 99, I read for The Sopranos. I didn't get the part. But then, 98 I read. I didn't get the part as Christopher's friend, Brendan Fallone. But the show they didn't know it was going to be that big. So they said, if we get picked up, we'll bring you in. And then they brought me in for that character.
Yeah.
And I got that role. But by then I was snorting heroin, you know, because I injured my head. I jumped out of a car one night, paranoid from the cocaine, thinking my friends were going to kill me. So I jumped out, doing 60 miles an hour. And then when my head messed my head up, then I had to start taking pain pills. The doctor prescribed them. I didn't know they were just like heroin. And then before you know it, I was hooked on them. I had a girlfriend, you know, from 2000, 2002. She broke up with me. I was really bad with the drugs. And then and then I met another girl, and she broke up with me also because of the drugs. But with the second girl, her name was Stephanie, I befriended her dad because she didn't want to be with me. And by this time I'm a full-blown crackhead, full-blown heroin addict. I wasn't shooting intravenously, I was snorting. So I became friends with her dad, so for a reason to go by the house without her calling the cops. So, you know, her dad and I, we became friendly, and we would do heroin together, never to go out. And then on December 10th, 2005, we decided to get together at like 1 o'clock in the morning. We got some crack first and went to a strip club, wanted to get more drugs, and went to someone who's my friend. And went there, he didn't answer, we broke a window, and then I had no idea. And when people, how did you not know? The DA would have put 15 witnesses on the stand if she was saying, yeah, we knew Lillo. He always hung out with people with guns. That was not my MO. This is why she couldn't prove it. If it was that true and you knew, you could have proved it. Because everybody thinks, oh, yeah, you just got off because you're an actor. That's bullshit.
I would think the opposite.
The reason why I got off is because I was not guilty, regardless of people. That part of the crime, that element of the crime, the whole case was hinging on whether or not I knew about the gun. I had knowledge of the gun. But that element of the crime need not be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, only by a preponderance of the evidence, which is the weight of the more reliable evidence. So all you had to prove that was 51%. And you still couldn't do it because I did not know. The burden of proof is so low. If you still can't prove it, it means that it did not happen. I know it's a cop and everybody thinks that, because, and I'm not saying nothing about law enforcement. A person's a person. A human life is a human life. Whether it's a cop or not a cop, whatever it is. But, listen, I take full responsibility how my drug addiction, my bad decision making did make a contribution in the death. But, with that being said, I was not armed that night. I didn't even have a gun. But we went there to get drugs. There was a lot of noise. Off-duty police officer came out. And he lived in the little kid from Bronx Tale, the house where he lived. That's how I knew the guy next door.
Really?
I used to do laundry with his sister, Chanel, who was my first love in the basement.
Jesus.
Imagine that. And then this cop, Daniel Enchautegi, he lives there, and he hears, all this noise. So he comes out. I'm walking away, and he says, don't move. And I move, and boom, boom, start shooting. And then a gunfight ensued between them two, but I was already gone because I didn't know who he was. And I got blood squirting through my fingers. I went back to the car, and I heard more gunshots. I didn't know Steve had a gun. So I didn't, it was like, just the way it happened, it was so surreal. Someone says, don't move, you turn around, and I had blood squirting everywhere. It looked like a movie.
Decided to take it to trial. Are you actively using during the trial?
No.
Like you're done with drugs at this point?
Yeah. In 2006, I was still getting high. I was going to church and getting morphine at church. I was getting heroin from a guy in the next block. November 12, 2006, I overdosed in my cell.
In jail?
Yeah, and they taped off my crime. They taped off my cell as a crime scene. They had detectives come to try.
You were getting heroin in Rikers Island?
Yeah.
God damn.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, and then it was like a big investigation. Where's this guy getting all the drugs? And I never told. I went to the box. November 18th, 2006 was the last time I got high. And I didn't go to trial till 2008. So by then I was very clean, very focused. I learned the law and everything in it that pertained to me and my case. And, I had Joe Tacopina as my attorney. Good family and friends and a lot of love. A lot of people supported me. And we beat all the biggest charges. And, thank God for that. But,
yeah.
Someone lost their life, though. So I never want to minimize that.
No, you're not downplaying. You're being factual is what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you overdosed in jail. Wow. That must have been fun.
Yeah.
What, just bad shit or just too much?
Too much. Too much. 20 morphine pills, and then I sniffed 4 bags of dope.
Do you think you did that much kind of like purposely in a way, maybe because of the situation?
No, it was because my tolerance.
Yeah,
because I did the 20 morphine pills, and I feel like I could have got higher, and I went and sniffed the 4 bags, and I was fucking out.
And that was it.
Yeah.
And then they take you to the hospital, handcuffed to the bed, I'm sure.
Yeah. First they brought me to the infirmary within the place, and then they brought me to an outside hospital.
I'm sure the media loved that, huh?
Yeah. But you know what? It wasn't such a bad thing because it just reaffirmed the fact that I'm a drug addict. I'm not a killer. And even in jail with everything going on, I'm still doing drugs. So we see what the problem is.
Right.
I'm not beating people up and getting violent.
I'm doing drugs.